BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Ukrainian officials say half the country's electricity needs are now being met, following repairs to critical infrastructure damaged by Russian missiles this week. All regions have seen at least some restoration of power. Speaking to the BBC, Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister Iryna Vereshchuk acknowledged how difficult the situation was for her country.
Terrorist Russia has started energy war against us. Its aim is to create a massive humanitarian crisis. Our people have to hold on for 120 days, because those are the winter days, the winter months, and that's what Russia is aiming for. It wants to inflict the maximum pain on our people as they're going through winter.
Net migration to Britain reached a record of just over 500,000 in the year to June, tripling the inflow from the previous 12 months. Government statisticians said the end of COVID lockdowns and the return of foreign students, opening the border to Afghan and Ukrainian refugees, and new visa rules for Hong Kong residents contributed to the increase. Our correspondent says a lot of people in Britain have taken to social media to express outrage. They're saying they voted for a government that promised to reduce immigration, something supposedly made easier after Brexit. The UN Human Rights Council has ordered an international probe into Iran's violent crackdown of women's rights protests. At least 300 people are thought to have been killed since nationwide demonstrations started 8 weeks ago. Western diplomats say the mission will send a powerful signal of support to Iranian women. China tried but failed to remove the paragraph referring to the fact-finding mission. The US ambassador to the Council is Michelle Taylor.
The fact-finding mission is absolutely necessary in order to not only promote accountability, but we know that impunity leads to further human rights abuses, and without a mechanism like this, we can't expect anything to change, and change must happen now.
The authorities in charge of one of the grandest mosques in India, the Jama Masjid in Delhi, have withdrawn their restrictions on the entry of unaccompanied women. Here's Anbar Rajan.
A spokesman for the heritage complex said some women use the premises to meet their boyfriends or to film TikTok videos. So they had decided to restrict entry, allowing women only when they were part of a group. The move triggered an angry reaction on social media, with many saying it was discriminatory. Some even questioned why men who were meeting their girlfriends were to be allowed in when women were barred. A few hours later, the controversial decision was reversed following a request from a senior government official.
World News from the BBC. The EU's environment watchdog says air pollution remains the bloc's biggest environment-related health threat, even though it's on course to meet its reduction target by the end of the decade. The European Environment Agency said that in 2020, 96% of urban dwellers were exposed to airborne pollution safety levels that exceeded WHO recommendations. It said exposure to very small particles accounted for 238,000 premature deaths that year. New figures indicate 12 million more people in Latin America have fallen into extreme poverty since the start of the COVID pandemic. A sluggish jobs market and inflation are among the factors blamed for the rise. The UN Economic Commission for the region said the increase had set poverty reduction efforts back a quarter of a century. In the Men's Football World Cup, Brazil began their campaign with the usual panache, beating Serbia 2-0. Earlier, Portugal defeated Ghana 3-2. The BBC's Lucy Hawkins is in Doha.
It was a very uneventful first half, but then we saw 5 goals scored in the second half, Portugal winning that match. And the first goal, of course, was scored by none other than Cristiano Ronaldo, who was captaining Portugal today. He got a penalty earlier on. Now, this is the first time that Ronaldo has appeared since that controversial interview he gave and then his subsequent departure from Manchester United. So relief in the Portugal camp that they won that match.
It means Cristiano Ronaldo becomes the first player to score at 5 Men's World Cups. A council committee in Ukraine's biggest port, Odessa, has supported a plan to dismantle and relocate a monument to the modern city's founder, the Russian Empress Catherine the Great. Catherine II's statue is seen by some as a symbol of Russian oppression. BBC News.